After my last video on Leonora Carrington, I wanted to spend a bit more time unpacking something that sits right at the centre of her story, the idea of degenerate art. Because before Max Ernst was Leonora's lover, and before they both became artists in exile, he was one of the many painters labelled degenerate by the Nazi regime. And that word alone would go on to shape not just his life, but the entire trajectory of Western European 20th century art. In 1937, the Nazis opened up an exhibition in Munich called Degenerate Art, where over 650 works were confiscated from German museums, paintings by the likes of Kandinsky, Chagall, Klee and Ernst. The exhibition was meant to humiliate them. Their works were hung crooked, graffiti was scrawled across the walls, nature as seen by sick minds. The artists were mocked as insane, corrupt, dangerous. But this wasn't really about art, it was about control. The word degenerate comes from 19th century pseudoscience. A psychiatrist called Benedict Morel proposed that criminality and moral weakness could be inherited and passed down like bad genes. His student, Max Nodar, expanded on this in his 1892 book, Degeneration. Nodar believed that modernity itself was making people sick, that the chaos of cities, the pace of change and the rise of modern art were all symptoms of collective decay. To him, impressionists, symbolists and avant-garde writers were all diseased minds. He wrote, "If criminals, prostitutes, anarchists and lunatics are degenerates, then so too are the authors and artists of our age." The Nazis then took this framework and turned it into ideology. Realism was seen as pure and abstraction was seen as perverse. Hitler, who by all accounts was a bit of a frustrated artist, wanted to define beauty as moral, and anything that didn't fit that ideal was painted as contamination. The state called this a cleansing of culture. Max Ernst, as one of the pioneers of surrealism, was seen as part of this so-called cultural sickness. His work was banned, confiscated and displayed in the 1937 Degenerate Art exhibition. He was later imprisoned by the French government as an enemy alien because of his German nationality. And after Germany invaded France, the Gestapo began pursuing him for his association with anti-fascist intellectuals and artists. What's fascinating is that the term degenerate was meant to destroy. The artists that the Nazis labelled dangerous, the surrealists, the expressionists, the abstract painters, they became the foundation of modern Western art as we know it. Their ideas about dream, distortion and imagination is what prevailed, which is proof that when you try to ban art, all you do is confirm its power. So when we look back at Leonora Carrington or Max Ernst, we're not just talking about exiles. We're talking about the survivors of a system that tried to make creativity itself a disease.